I think he just loves Xi. And he's willing to make the American small business owners that rely on Chinese manufacturing and the American working class that has benefited from the cheap, accessible, affordable commodities suffer with mass inflation just to get Xi to call him, you know, on a cell phone. He's like, please, Mr. Xi. President Xi, he loves me. I know he loves me. He just doesn't want to call. He's playing hard to get. I'm going to get back to Donald Trump because I want to hear what President Trump has to say. He's live right now.
They went for like a year and a half, almost 2 years, screaming and ranting and raving. Democrats plus two worse than Democrats. You had Cheney, Liz Cheney, and crying.
In the long term, wouldn't tariffs against China be a good thing for America to reduce their reliance on Chinese manufacturing and working towards building our manufacturing base? No, because the problem is not building our manufacturing base. If you build your manufacturing base and then either depress labor, depress wages, as we have consistently at the behest of capital, or even fucking fully automate that process, then the same income inequality will persist. You're not actually helping the American population in that regard. You're just simply trying to extend and give a lifeline to American dominance. And also, this process in and of itself cannot be done with a private-public partnership anyway. You can't just like expect capital to come back into the United States of America and build a fucking robust manufacturing base without the infrastructure projects necessary to build said robust manufacturing base. That would require an unimaginable amount of fucking money.
They found out that Pelosi was the one that was in charge of the security of the Capitol, and she knew all about it, and she admitted her guilt to her daughter, who was a movie documentary person. I'm sure her daughter's not too happy about that. I'm sure Crazy Nancy's not too happy, but we found out all the things, everything, and we go for the information. Sir, we've destroyed all of that information. If I haven't destroyed it, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, I guarantee you that. I'd be sitting someplace else. So I think it's something that we should really
Whitmer's in this room, by the way.
So important. The whole concept of an auto pen. Because whoever's, you know, auto pens are run by somebody. Whoever ran the auto pen was president of the United States. And I would be willing to bet that Biden didn't know.
Oh, my God.
Probably didn't know anything about any of it.
Oh, my God. He's still on the auto pen shit.
Very dangerous. So you're going to check that out, right?
Yes, sir. We're working on it right now, sir. This is just another proclamation, sir, declaring national crime.
So do you just like wish for the downfall of the United States? Everything you're saying right now is pure doomerism. What do you want me to do? Fucking lie to you? What a stupid expectation from you, chatter. Hey, man, can you please just say that Donald Trump's insane moves are actually for the greater good and make me feel good about the situation? Yes, dude. 10% tariffs that you will pay for globally, plus severing ties with our largest trading partner is a good thing, okay? Yeah, I will make it make sense for you. What the fuck is this expectation? People are so stupid, man.
Air Force
Holy
Base
fuck.
open, strong, thriving, and I think we're going to be successful, Governor. I think we'll be very successful at that. We've gotten some good feedback from Pete Hegseth and Department of Defense.
Can you please lie to me? Yeah, go watch Asmongold if you want someone to say based over Donald Trump's idiotic decisions, okay? Like, plenty of people do choose that route where they're like, I just want someone to whisper sweet nothings into my ear, you know what I mean? And act like all of these decisions are actually very good and will make my Western chauvinist perspective emboldened. Make me feel emboldened about American enterprise. Hell yeah, it's gonna fucking happen.
First of all,
you'll come back when you realize perhaps all of that was a fucking house of cards built upon a pile of shit.
It'll be critical to Michigan's economy and our security when you're able to deliver us another
Nils
mission
the chef,
there.
thank you for the 50
but on the Asian
bones.
carp, you know, for years when Obama was there, we could never get anyone to do anything about this invasive species that's going to destroy our Great Lakes. You know how important recreational fishing and so much of that is to our state. Because of your work, we're hopeful that we'll get a solution there and we'll get that barrier built so we can protect our Great Lakes. So thank you, Mr. President.
And they're very powerful fish. I mean, I see them, they jump out of the water, they jump at the fishermen. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And has this gotten into any of the other lakes yet? Because you would think it would be pretty easy because they're all sort of connected.
It's why we're working so hard to make sure that, we work with the Army Corps and erect a barrier so that the Asian carp can't get into Lake Michigan. It'll devastate the ecosystem, the economy, tourism, and it's 20% of the world's fresh water is in the Great Lakes, Mr. President, which is why it's so important that as a nation we protect the
very powerful fish.
Yep.
The
And,
greatest
all
fish.
Of a sudden, I assume the lakes
You will
are
make
all
the sushi with the
interconnected,
fish.
right? So
I
at some
love the
point, they're
fish.
gonna
I
be
want to
in
kiss the
the
fishies.
other lakes. And so we're going to work hard on that. I spoke with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they have a method. It's a pretty gruesome method, but it's a
I've
method.
underfunded the Army Corps of Engineers, but
Work on that very
even with the limited funding and the layoffs, they'll be able to kiss the
bipartisan
fish.
thing when you get right down to it. It's a very expensive thing, actually. It costs a lot. I looked at the numbers. I said, well, but we have to save Lake Michigan because these fish, they eat everything in the way, including the other fish. They eat everything. Are people endangered by the fish?
I think I mean, they're going to eat all the fish there. We won't be able to fish anymore, and that's a big deal in Lake Michigan. There's a lot of fishing, recreation, so it's going to be a problem there. But you're right, it's bipartisan, sir, but you're the one taking action on these issues. We couldn't get Biden to do it on Selfridge. This thing has been delayed for, 15 years where we were trying to do it. It started under Obama where we were trying to do it. He wouldn't do anything about it. So we appreciate you paying so much attention to this and taking action,
Well,
sir.
I would. And the governor, in all fairness, called me about it. I had seen it, and she called me, and John James called me. And, we spoke with your office, and it's, I want to put that down. Really is bipartisan. It's great to see it, actually. It's great to see that. And that includes Selfridge, too. And we're going to get it done, and we'll all stand there together and cut a ribbon. Okay? Gretchen? Good. That's good. Thank you very much. I'm glad you brought it up. and
Yeah,
I'm glad
he
you
hates
brought
the
it up.
California fish, but the Michigan fish he loves, and he will preserve the Michigan fish. Understand something, I will do everything in my power to kill the smelt. The Californian Delta will cry. The smelt will cry. I hate that fish, but the Michigan fish, very important fish to me. Very powerful fish in
Where does the
Michigan.
TikTok deal stand, given what we've seen, the
Well,
tariffs to
it's moving
China?
along,
big.
but obviously, I would say right now China's not exactly thrilled about signing it. We have a deal with some very good people, some very rich companies that would do a great job with it. But we're going to have to wait to see what's going to happen with China. So
Mr. President,
no, it's on the table very much. I think China's going to want to do it. Actually,
President, can you explain more of what you believe is the end game with China? Are you waiting for President Xi to blink? How do you think this is all going to be resolved?
look, for years we've been ripped off and taken advantage of by China and others, in all fairness. But by China, that's the big one. And it's just one of those things. We're making $2 billion a day right now, this country. $2 billion a day with tariffs. And they were making $2 billion a day. We'll be making more. And now when you see what happened today, I don't know if it's still there. I looked an hour ago, but we were up like close to 3,000 points. Nobody's ever seen a day like that. I think that's a record, isn't it, fellas?
Definitely.
Is that a record? Who would have thought we were going to have a record like that watching? But because the geniuses of the world.
I like that he's like collecting little trophies. He's got the FIFA trophy. He's got the Gulf of America behind him. Every time he does like some aesthetic move that is undeniable, like even if it's inconsequential overall, he will just like present it as though, this is a beautiful thing I did. Look at this beautiful thing I
We're
did.
criminals. And but the people that do this for a living, some of them are very smart, and some of them aren't smart at all. But these guys are very smart, and my group is very smart. My whole group is smart. And you've done so amazing on the border. I read the other day that there were 9 people and hundreds of thousands 2 years ago with Biden, and we had 9. We had it down to 9, and they were all let in for medical reasons. They were in bad shape. We let them in for medical reasons, not even for anything else. So you've been amazing. But that's a big thing. I think it's one of the greatest problems that I've never seen anything like it. Open borders. The whole world was emptied out. Prisons from all over the world, from the Congo in Africa, from Africa to Asia, a lot in South America, but it wasn't just South America. Prisons emptied out. And I said it outside with the drivers before. But El Salvador has been amazing, a job that the president's done. He's coming to see me next week, and we look forward to that. But that's really been amazing. Yes.
Mr. President, the EU also announced increases in tariffs today. Why not treat...
Bad timing for them. That's bad timing.
Why not treat
They didn't put them in. No, they threatened them,
I
but they
think
picked a later date, which our expectation is it's going to be later still.
Okay. I'm glad that they held back.
Would you, Mr. President, you were watching the market.
If this was the strategy all along to bring them to the table, why did you instruct or advise, or maybe they did it on their own, some of your top aides to say this is not a negotiation, to hold the line, that they were going to hold the line, that you were not going to change your mind?
A lot of times it's not a negotiation until it is, and that happens. And, you know, I said outside that you have to have flexibility to do it right, and that's what we have. We brought everybody to the table, and it may not be a negotiation. It may not last. I mean, you know, things may be asked that I think are not fair to us. Look, we've been ripped off by essentially everybody for 35 years. This is not just a new thing. And Roger Penske just left. He's a great gentleman, great man, actually. And he said no other president would have had the guts to do this. And I believe that's right. They wouldn't have done it. They should have done this a long time ago. A long time ago, they should have done it. I started it with China. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and taxes from China in my first term. And we had the greatest economy. We were up 88% on the stock market. That was the greatest ever in the history of our country. But it had to be done. It's something that had to be done.
Mr. President, thank you so much. Which countries will be negotiating first? Do you have any criteria? Because, for example, Brazil and the UK, they do not have deficits with the U.S. They have a surplus. They do not have a surplus. They have deficits with the U.S. So what is the criteria? And also, would you consider talking or meeting with Xi Jinping?
No, sure. I would. He's a friend of mine. I like him. President Xi, I like him. I respect him. But they haven't treated our country right.
Why won't she call me? She needs to call me on my cell phone.
Japan is here, and
he has my number.
South Korea is here, and others are here.
I'm a big fan.
And we're trying to see him. It's from what I hear, it's much more than 75. I said 75 plus.
So many.
It's everybody wants to make a deal, actually, and you know we want to do what's right for our country. We also want to do what's right for the world. The world is important. I mean, you know, it's the world, right? And I think we're going to make a lot of people very happy. And I think investing in the United States of America will be the greatest investment that anybody's ever made.
Mr. President, we should expect to see the sectoral tariffs, so the pharmaceuticals, steel. Is that something you're still considering moving forward
Yeah,
with?
well, I will be, because we want them coming back. You know, we realized during COVID that we don't make our drugs and our pharmaceuticals in this country. So I realized that. And it was a big realization. We had to go to China to get drugs. We had to go to other places. I won't even mention the names, but we had to go to other places. We don't make it. And that's because we let them leave. And now if they want to come back, we're going to put tariffs on the pharmaceutical companies, and they're going to all want to come back. They're going to come back. I'm not going to pay them any money like Biden with the chip deal. That chip deal was horrible. They give billions and billions of dollars to chip companies. All they have is money. They have so much money. And they give billions of dollars. And they're just going to keep the money. They're not going to
what is
spend
the
it.
expectation?
And the only thing that's going to bring them back
That is literally the closest that the American government has arrived at his vision of rebuilding a robust manufacturing base, at least for chip manufacturing. What do you mean? This part is so crazy because, like, the CHIPS Act doesn't go far enough, okay? It doesn't go far enough. It's limited still because of the capitalist dogma. Donald Trump thinks that capital owners will magically arrive at this conclusion on their own because they've been bullied into doing this.
They need and the energy that they need, and it'll be approved by
like the problem is
a total professional.
The CHIPS Act in and of itself does not go far enough to build American manufacturing. This fucking dumbass thinks he's going to have it happen magically.
You've procured a record amount of private sector investments since your election, $7 trillion. You talked about the importance of all that. Can you talk about how these investments will have a positive impact on families who felt like the previous economy left them behind, and why your executive orders on coal yesterday is so important given the amount of manufacturing that you're ushering back in.
Good, thank you. And which is correct. We have, I would say, more than $7 trillion now, right, of investment coming in. Apple is coming in for $500 billion alone. We have other companies coming in with massive numbers. We have car companies that are coming in. No, we've never seen anything like it. Maybe in the 1940s or 50s or something, but we've never seen anything like it. They had 3 plants canceled in Mexico. Not that we want to hurt Mexico, but we're for us. And that's what my job is. It's not to take care of other countries, but I want to help other countries as much as I can, but we have to take care of America first, and it's about America first. So we have many, many companies coming in that would have never come in if we didn't win the election and then put the tariffs on. And they're coming in because when they build in the United States, there are no tariffs. You don't have to pay any tariffs. So instead of paying 30, 40, 50% or 25%, but it could go a lot higher in some of the industries. So we have steel mills right now that are raging. The steel industry was gone. If I didn't put the tariffs on steel, because China was dumping massive amounts of steel in my first term, and I put tariffs on it, I saved the steel industry, but now it's going to thrive, maybe like never before. I mean, if you go back to U.S. Steel from 90 years ago, it was incredible. It was the #1 company in the world for a long time. That's why we don't want to see it go to Japan. And we love Japan, but U.S. Steel was a very special company. We don't want it to go to Japan or any other place. So we're working with them, and I don't know if they need any money now. I'll be honest with you, they hit gold. They hit gold because if you look at it, they have such orders for steel now. It's incredible. What's going on in our country is incredible with respect to plants. So we lost 90,000 plants and factories from the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made in the history of this world, but certainly in the history of trade. There's never been a worse trade deal. We were able to cancel that. We had to get approval from Congress. It was like a disastrous curse because you had to go to Congress to get it terminated. You couldn't just terminate it because it was a bad deal. And you had people in Congress that didn't want to do it because they had other reasons, maybe bad reasons. They're mostly not there anymore, those people. But it's amazing what's happened. I appreciate that question because it's incredible. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. $7 trillion, and it's much more than that because, these are places that we know. $7 trillion is unheard of. I never looked at the Biden numbers, but you could go a whole year and it was peanuts. Everybody was leaving. They weren't coming in, they were leaving. And that means jobs are leaving. And so we're not playing games. We're going to make this country greater than ever before. Thank you for that question.
Mr. President, it seems that China's made some...
Let her just do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We'll get you.
Thanks. For the past few days, we've heard from this administration no pause. Was this idea of doing a pause, did that just come about this morning? Can you tell us exactly what came into consideration for you and your advisors?
For a period of time, I wouldn't say this morning. Over the last few days, I've been thinking about it. I've been dealing with Scott, with Howard, with some other people that are very professional. And I think it probably came together early this morning, fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up. We didn't have the use of, we didn't have access to lawyers, or we just wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart.
Let's see what the Asmongoldиans are saying.
But it was written from the heart. It was written
DEI question.
As something that I think was very positive for the world and for us. And we don't want to hurt countries that don't need to be hurt. And they all want to negotiate. The only problem is, you can only do so many at one time. It's like, we want to do it right. We want to get it right. We want to take care of them, but we have to take care of our country. So, but this was something certainly we've been talking about for a period of time, and we decided to pull the trigger. We did it today, and we're happy about it. I didn't know it would have that kind of an impact.
He made us losers. Okay, so they're also not necessarily on board, it seems. So that's good.
You're almost, if you keep going, you're going to be back to where it was 4 weeks ago. But it was a sick market 4 weeks ago, because this trade was sick. It was only a question of time. I don't blame the tariffs. I think the tariffs just sort of magnified what was happening. It was sick. Biden allowed these people to get away with murder. Biden allowed China to just take advantage of us. We had like $1 trillion deficit with China, $1 trillion deficit.
How does
so
Asmongold's chat
a matter of time.
instantly know when I'm watching Asmongold's chat, by the way? Do they just have both of our fucking chats open at the same time? Fuck you, Hassan Pepe Point. It's kind of, it's wild. You know?
And we've revealed it very strongly. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. So it seems China's made some serious missteps here in these negotiations, and Secretary Besson said earlier you may have goaded them into a tough position here. I'm wondering, are you in a way putting together a coalition against China in terms of trade here?
No. Well, China, look, they're very capable, and I don't blame China for what happened. I blame the people sitting right at this desk. Right behind this desk or another desk.
I love how much they hate you for having empathy in your beliefs.
I happen to pick the Resolute. But I blame the people sitting behind in this chair, behind this desk, for being stupid, incompetent, or not having courage. This should have been done years ago. This should have been done before Obama, in all fairness. Not only Biden, Obama. It should have been done many years ago. This started with the World Trade Organization, which was owned by China. It was owned and paid for by China. They didn't even have to do things. They considered them a nation that was undeveloped. They said they were a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation too, if you think about it. Look at our inner cities. Look at what's happened. I think we're starting from ground zero there, right? So we're a developing nation too. No, I don't. I know it's a lot of people take heat for saying that, but I blame the people sitting at this desk more than I blame China. If China can get away with what they got away with taking hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars right out of our pocket because our people here were stupid, they were stupid people. Maybe corrupt, I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid? But they certainly weren't courageous, and they allowed this to happen. And with Japan and with many other countries that took advantage of us. I mean, we had deficits with almost every country. I used to read these things. First term, I'd read them. I'd actually read the agreements. I'd say, how could anybody agree to this stuff? So certainly they were rough, and they were tough, and they were smart. And you can blame them, but I really blame the people that allowed them to do it. Because, you know, if you could read first grade and you could read these agreements, you'd say, these are terrible deals. I actually used to say, who would allow deals like this to be made for our country? And maybe it's people that didn't care. Maybe it's people that weren't courageous. Maybe it's people that were corrupt. I don't know. But I blame those people more than I blame anybody else.
Mr. President, you've been very specific in saying that you would like the EU to purchase U.S.
There's definitely a lot more
Is there something
discontent. Says the
specific
dude who
that you
told
would
us to
like
inject
China
bleach
to
for
do?
Trump can't read it first grade.
You'll be hearing about that, yeah.
There's a lot
things
of
I'd like China to
discontent
do.
seemingly in the
There are a lot of things that I want China to
Asmongold
do,
side.
and I'll be telling China what that is.
I don't think they are buying whatever the fuck Trump is selling at this moment.
That if they do not agree to a potential nuclear deal, that it would be very dangerous for them. What specifically
Well, they
did you
can't
mean?
have a nuclear weapon.
Did you mean military action, though, if they don't agree?
Oh, if necessary? Absolutely, yeah.
And do you have a
deadline for these
Yeah,
talks?
I do.
And
You're talking about with Iran?
Yes.
Yeah, I
they're saying
do.
it's not
Do you have something
negotiable.
definitive this weekend, or do you see this as the start of a process?
It's a start.
Do you have a timeline?
We have a little time, but we don't have much time
Who is starting the
because we're not going to let them have a nuclear weapon.
Is
Can't
it
let them have a
awkward
nuclear
to be
weapon.
there, Mr. President?
And we're going to let them thrive. I want them to thrive. I want Iran to be great. The only thing they can't have is a nuclear weapon. They understand that. You know, the people are so incredible in Iran, and they're so smart. They're very smart people. But, you know, they're in a rough situation, rough regime. But they understand, and the leaders understand. And I'm not asking for much. I don't. They can't have a nuclear weapon, and I've said that. And I was a little bit surprised because when the election was rigged, I figured they'd get the weapon because with me they were broke. They were broke. They had no money because of the sanctions. Nobody could buy oil. We did that to Venezuela just recently, and we'll do it to other countries if we have to. I want to see Russia and Ukraine make a deal. They got to make a deal. when schools get blown up and bad things happen, like I'm hearing about, it's no good. I hope we're going to make a deal with Russia and Ukraine. But with Iran, yeah, if it requires military, we're going to have military. Israel will obviously be very much involved in that. He'll be the leader of that. But nobody leads us. We do what we want to do.
When would the clock run out on the talks? Before you might, when would the talks need to conclude before you might do military?
I can't really be specific, but you know, when you start talks, you know if they're going along well or not. And I would say the conclusion would be when I think they're not going along well. So that's just a feeling.
Mr. President, on the subject of U.S. troops stationed in Europe, do you have any plans to reduce the number of U.S. troops in Europe or in other NATO countries?
Well, good. I mean, it depends. We pay for military over in Europe. You know, we don't get reimbursed by much. South Korea too. So it'll be one of the things we discuss. That's unrelated to trade, but I think we'll make it part of it because it makes sense. Be nice to wrap it all up in one package for each country. You know, it's nice and clean, and we have plenty of law firms. These are great law firms that we signed with, the best. And I think part of the way I'll spend some of the money that we're getting from the law firms, you know, in terms of their legal time.
If you don't understand how Trump thinks about tariffs, you should check out Peter Navarro. Dude, I check out Peter Navarro. Don't worry.
Good lawyers representing us, but we want to have good lawyers, and these are the best, considered the best lawyers in the world, right? I mean, considered the best in the world. I don't know. They just went off a little bit.
Mr. President, two questions. On Iran, do you have an update on who will be participating or conducting these conversations? Will Witkoff be there on Saturday for these direct talks? And on China, some economists are saying that right now is technically embargo on China with 125% tariffs. Are you concerned of escalation beyond the trade war with China?
No, I'm not concerned. I think President Xi is a very smart guy, and I think we'll end up making a very good deal for both. But, you know, we've been treated so badly for so many years. Again, we allowed that to happen. We've been treated so badly for so many years. But no, I don't expect that. I think President Xi is one of the very smart people of the world, and I don't think he'd allow that to happen. And we're very powerful. This country is very powerful. Let me tell you, it's far more powerful than people understand.
My favorite advisor,
we have weaponry that nobody
brilliant
has
guy,
any idea
knows
what it is,
China.
and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, even not even close. So nobody's going to do that. But I think that if that's what you're referring to, maybe it's not. But just in terms of basic escalation, which is what you said, no, I think that President Xi is a man who knows exactly what has to be done. He's a very smart man. He loves his country. I know that for a fact. I know him very well. And I think he's going to want to get to a deal. I think that's going to happen. We'll get a phone call at some point, and it'll be off to the races. It'll be a great thing for them. It'll be a great thing for us. It's going to be a great thing for the world and for humanity.
Do you have plans to meet with Putin in Saudi Arabia?
At some point, I will. At some point. We'll have to see. I mean, we have to get there right now. You know, we got to get there. In the meantime, they're losing 2,500 on average young people every single week. Think of that. 2,500 people a week. It's not even conceivable. We got to get there fast. Take a couple of more. Yes.
Do you have to increase tariffs on China even more before they come to the table or give you a phone call?
I can't imagine it. No, I can't imagine. I don't think so. I don't think I'll have to do it. I don't think we'll have to do it more. We calculated it very carefully. By the way, you know, when you hear 100, a lot of people charge much more than that. Canada charges much more than that to our farmers, our dairy farmers. Many people charge much more than 100 or 125 in this case. But I don't, you know, it's still a significant number. I don't see that again.
On the investigations.
Yeah, Mr. President. So do you think some of your tariff critics would prefer, you know, to see the United States go through turmoil than to actually see it succeed just because they are your policies?
You mean just leave the tariffs the way they are now and just relax?
He's
right?
just like I think he just loves Xi. And he's willing to make the American small business owners that rely on Chinese manufacturing and the American working class that has benefited from the cheap, accessible, affordable commodities suffer with mass inflation just to get Xi to call him, you know, on a cell phone. He's like, please, Mr. Xi, President Xi, he loves me. I know he loves me. He just doesn't want to call. He's playing hard to get.
I've been in worse positions in my life than making $2 billion a day plus, right?
He's just playing hard to get.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press.
Believe it, I will destroy this beautiful economy just to get one phone call from Mr. Xi.
The markets right now are extremely good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Press. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Here, this way. Right this way. Thank you.
Okay, well, Donald Trump ending that actually far-reaching news conference off the back of the signing of some executive
me
orders.
On red,
but the main
he'll
story
call me
today,
soon.
obviously,
He'll call me, I promise. Believe it, he will call me on my cell phone late night when he needs my love. It's a real hotline bling situation.